Do not throw that plant away. I know what it looks like. Drooping, yellow, half its leaves on the floor around the pot. You have decided it is finished, and you have already half promised yourself you will toss it out this weekend and stop wasting your time. Stop, because that plant is very likely not dead. It is not even close to dead. And I am going to show you the old Amish trick my grandmother used to bring plants back from far worse than the one you are looking at right now. Plants the rest of the family had already given up on. Plants she would pull right out of the burn pile, nurse on the back windowsill, and have blooming again by the next month. Here is the part that is going to surprise you. The reason your plant is dying is almost never the reason you think, and the thing you have been doing to try and save it, watering it more, moving it to the sun, feeding it, there is a very good chance that is the exact thing finishing it off. I am going to walk you through the whole trick, step by step. But first, I am going to teach you the 60-second test my grandmother did before she tried to save any plant, because it tells you instantly whether the plant can be saved at all, and it stops you from wasting your effort on the few that truly are gone. Most people never learn this test, and it is the difference between bringing a plant back and burying it. And near the end, I am going to give you the one thing she did, the single most important step, that brings a plant back to life faster than anything else. People skip it because it feels wrong. It is the secret of the whole thing. Stay with me for that. My name is Caleb Zook. I am Amish and I farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Let me show you how to bring that plant back. Before you do a single thing to that plant, you have to know whether there is any life left in it to save. Because here is the truth. A plant can look completely dead on the outside and be very much alive on the inside. And it can also look half alive and already be gone. You cannot tell by the leaves. The leaves lie. My grandmother taught me to ignore the leaves entirely and check two other things. The first is the stem. Take your fingernail, or a small knife, and gently scratch a little of the outer layer off the main stem, low down near the soil. Look at what is underneath. If it is green and a little moist under there, even the faintest green, that plant is alive. There is life still running through it, and you can bring it back. If you scratch and it is brown and dry and brittle all the way through, that part of the stem is gone. But do not give up yet. Scratch lower, closer to the soil, and lower still. Very often the top of a plant is dead while the base is still green and alive, and a plant that is green anywhere can be saved. The second thing she checked was the roots. Gently slide the plant out of its pot, or dig a little around the base, and look at the roots. Living roots are firm and pale, white or tan, and they feel solid. Dead roots are brown or black, mushy, and they fall apart or slip off in your fingers like wet thread. If you find even a handful of firm, pale, living roots in there, the plant has a foundation to rebuild from. It can come back. So that is the test. Green under the stem scratch anywhere on the plant, or firm, pale roots anywhere in the pot, and that plant is savable. If the entire stem is brown and brittle to the soil line, and every last root is black mush, then I will be honest with you, that one is gone, and the kindest thing is to let it go. But I will tell you this, in all my years, far more plants pass this test than fail it. The plant you think is dead is usually just badly hurt, and badly hurt we can fix. Now that you know it is worth saving, the next question is the one that decides everything. Why is it dying in the first place? Because if you treat the wrong cause, you will kill it for certain. Let me show you how to read the plant. Here is where almost everybody goes wrong, and it is the whole reason plants die in people's care. When a plant looks sick, people panic. And they do the one thing that feels caring, they water it more. And more often than not, that is exactly what is killing it. Let me teach you to read the plant the way my grandmother read it, because the plant is telling you what is wrong if you know how to look. The biggest killer of houseplants and garden plants alike is not too little water. It is too much. Overwatering drowns the roots. It fills every air pocket in the soil so the roots cannot breathe, and they begin to rot. And here is the cruel trick that fools everyone. An overwatered plant and an underwatered plant look almost exactly the same. Both droop. Both go yellow. Both look thirsty. So the person sees a drooping plant, assumes it is thirsty, pours on more water, and finishes off a plant that was already drowning. So how do you tell the difference? You put your finger in the soil, 2 inches down. If it is wet and soggy down there and the plant is drooping, you have an overwatering problem. The roots are drowning, not thirsty. If it is bone dry 2 inches down and the soil has pulled away from the sides of the pot, then yes, that one is truly thirsty. The leaves alone will never tell you. The soil tells you the truth. Always check the soil before you ever reach for the watering can. There are a few other things the plant will tell you if you look. Crispy, brown, burnt-looking leaf edges with dry soil that is too much harsh sun or heat. pale, leggy, stretched-out growth reaching toward the window, that is too little light. Yellow leaves dropping with soggy soil, that is overwatering and root rot. Once you learn to read these signs, you stop guessing and start treating the actual problem. And treating the actual problem is the entire trick. But no matter what the specific cause is, the old Amish revival follows the same handful of steps, and the first one is the step that feels the most wrong and matters the most. Let me show you. The first step in bringing a dying plant back is going to feel completely backward, and your instinct is going to fight it. You are going to want to baby every leaf the plant has left, because it looks so fragile, and you do not want to take anything more away from it. Do the opposite. Cut the dead away. Here is why this matters more than anything. A struggling plant has only a tiny bit of energy left, and every dead and dying leaf, every brown and rotted root, is a drain on that energy. The plant is pouring its last strength into trying to support parts of itself that are already gone and never coming back. It is like a tired man trying to carry water in a leaking bucket. As long as you let it keep pouring its energy into dead growth, it cannot put any energy into new growth. It cannot recover. So you take it away for it. With clean, sharp scissors or shears, and clean is important. Wipe them with vinegar or rubbing alcohol so you do not spread disease into the open cuts. You trim off every leaf and stem that is fully brown, dead, and crispy. Cut back to where you find green. If a stem is half dead, cut it down to just above the living green part. Do not be timid here. A plant cut back hard to its living tissue will recover far faster than a plant left to struggle under a load of dead weight. And if your stem scratch test back at the start showed the roots were rotted, you do the same thing underground. Slide the plant out and with those same clean scissors, trim away every black, mushy, rotted root, cutting back to the firm, pale, living roots. It feels brutal. It feels like you are hurting an already hurt plant. You are not. You are removing the rot that would otherwise spread and kill what is left. You are giving the living roots a clean start. When you are done, you will have a smaller, barer plant than you started with. And I promise you, that plant is now in a far stronger position to live than it was 5 minutes ago. You have stopped the leaks. Now every drop of energy it has goes toward coming back. But cutting away the dead is only half the rescue. Now you have to fix the home it is living in. And this is where the real revival happens. Here is something most people never think about. A plant lives in its soil the way you live in your house. And when a plant is dying, very often the problem is that its house has gone bad. The soil has turned sour, compacted, waterlogged, and lifeless, and no amount of care will save a plant you leave sitting in a poisoned home. So the second step is to give the plant a fresh, healthy home. Take the plant out of its old pot and look at that soil. If it is dense, soggy, packed hard, sour-smelling, or has not dried out in weeks, it has to go. Gently loosen and remove as much of the old bad soil from around the roots as you can without tearing them up. You are clearing away the drowning, lifeless dirt that was suffocating the plant. Then you repot it into fresh, loose, rich soil, the kind that crumbles softly through your fingers, light and airy, with plenty of life in it. The roots need to breathe. Loose soil lets air down to the roots and lets excess water drain away instead of pooling and rotting them. This single change, moving a plant from dense, soggy, dead soil into loose, breathing, living soil, has revived more plants in my family's care than any other thing we ever did. And here is the part you absolutely cannot skip, the part that is behind most plant deaths in the first place: drainage. The pot must have a hole in the bottom for water to escape. A pot with no drainage hole is a bucket, and a plant sitting in a bucket of water will always drown eventually, no matter how careful you are. If your pot has no hole, that is very likely the real reason your plant has been dying all along. Move it to a pot that drains, or drill a hole in the one you have. Put a little gravel or broken pottery in the bottom to keep the hole clear. Water must be able to run through and out. A plant that can shed its extra water can never be overwatered, and overwatering is the #1 killer of them all. Fresh living soil and a pot that drains. Get those two right and you have fixed the cause behind most dying plants. But there is still one more step. The secret one I promised you at the start. And it is the one that feels the most wrong of all. Here it is, the single most important step, and the one almost everyone gets wrong because it is the exact opposite of what your caring instinct tells you to do. When you have a sick, freshly trimmed, freshly repotted plant, every part of you wants to do more for it. Put it in the brightest, sunniest window to give it strength. Feed it some fertilizer to perk it up. Fuss over it, water it, check it 3 times a day. And every one of those caring instincts is wrong, and any one of them can kill the plant now in its weakest hour. The secret the old folks knew is this: a recovering plant needs rest, not stimulation. Think of it like a person just out of a serious sickness. You do not send a man straight from his sickbed out to plow the field in the hot sun. You let him rest in a quiet, shaded room and recover his strength slowly. A plant is exactly the same. So after you trim and repot, you put that plant in a spot with bright but indirect light, never harsh direct sun. Direct sun on a weakened, root-trimmed plant is like that hot field on the sick man. It demands the plant produce energy it does not have yet, and it scorches the leaves and finishes the job. Soft, gentle, indirect light is what it needs to heal. Then you water it once, gently, just enough to settle the fresh soil and dampen it, never soaking. And then, here is the hardest part, you leave it alone. You do not fertilize it. I will say that again because everyone gets it wrong. Do not fertilize a sick or recovering plant. Fertilizer is strong food, and strong food on damaged roots burns them and kills the plant. It would be like forcing a heavy meal on a man with a sick stomach. Wait until the plant is showing healthy new growth, new green leaves, real signs of life, and only then, weeks later, begin feeding it gently. Feeding too early has killed more rescued plants than almost anything. And you do not fuss. You check the soil every few days with your finger, and you only water again when the top inch or two has dried out. Bright shade, one gentle watering, no food, and patience. Let it rest. Let it heal on its own time. The plant knows how to recover. Your job is to stop interfering and let it. This is the secret. Not doing more, doing less, and doing the right less, at the right time. The old folks understood that the plant heals itself if you simply give it a clean start and then get out of its way. So let me put the whole old Amish revival together, plain and simple, the way my grandmother would have. First, the 60-second test. Scratch the stem for green, check the roots for firm, pale life, and know whether the plant is worth saving. Then read the plant honestly. Check the soil with your finger before you ever blame thirst, because overwatering, not underwatering, is the killer that fools everyone. Then cut away every dead leaf and rotted root, hard, so the plant stops pouring its last energy into parts that are already gone. Then give it a fresh home, loose living soil and a pot that drains, so the roots can finally breathe. And last, the secret. Rest it in gentle shade, water it once, feed it nothing, and leave it alone to heal on its own time. That is the whole trick. And it works, not because of any single magic thing, but because it does the one thing nobody else does. It stops fighting the plant and starts giving it what it actually needs, which is almost always the opposite of what our worried hands want to do. That is the real lesson the old folks understood, and it goes far beyond plants. The dying plant on your windowsill is rarely beyond saving. It is just hurt, and it has been hurt, more often than not by too much care pointed in the wrong direction. Less water, less sun, less food. A clean start and a quiet rest. That is how life comes back. So here is what I want you to do this week. Go and find that plant you had already given up on, the one you were about to throw out. Do the scratch test on it right now. I would wager you find green under that stem, and if you do, give it the 5 steps. Trim it, repot it, rest it in the shade, and leave it be. Then come back in 3 weeks and look for the new growth because I believe it will be there.